If the cosmic creators had any special affection for a nation in terms of football prowess, it would undoubtedly be Brazil, not any other nation. The World Cup is a tournament of the ages as it takes place only once every 4 years. A golden generation of a nation often finds it challenging to become the champion twice. However, Brazil has claimed the cup for itself 5 times, thrice with the Jules Rimet Trophy and twice with the current trophy. This quickly leads us to the assertion that Brazil is the nation with the most consistent and successful record since the inception of football history. But the heavens have bestowed upon Brazil more than just cups. Another team that has lifted the cup 4 times in history is the German national team. Of course, Germany also boasts many stars in its lineup. However, when it comes to individuals inspiring football for future generations, the Germans would likely fall behind Brazil by a considerable margin. Legends like Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, Romario, Ronaldo, Pelé, Socrates, and many other stars vividly illustrate this point. However, it seems that Brazilian football is facing a significant challenge. It has been a long time since Brazil produced a star of such magnitude. They have also gone over 20 years without a World Cup title. Is that a bad sign? Let's explore some suggestions regarding the headline question. But before delving into the analysis, let's consider this perspective. Brazil is no longer a formidable team with many football virtuosos. While Brazil may not be producing as many inspirational stars as before, it doesn't mean they are a weak team. Brazil continues to produce great players, and the assertion above is a pessimistic, illogical viewpoint. If a nation does not produce skilled players, it won't be considered strong. Hungary, the Soviet Union, and Uruguay were once formidable forces in international football. Still, they are not considered among the best teams because they currently lack many talented players. Take the 2010 Brazilian national team as an example. Many experts argued that the squad was the worst Brazilian national team in 30 years. However, when compared to the recent 3Rs era or the 2020 Brazilian national team, no matter how weak they were, they remained a top team in the World Cup. Their goalkeeper Julio Cesar won the UEFA Champions League with Inter. Lucio and Juan, though past their prime, were still good defenders. Thiago Silva was the #1 center-back at AC Milan. Macon and Alves were at their peak. Melo and Elano were not world-class players, but playing for Juventus and Man City as starters was not bad. Brazil's weakest point was their attacking line. They had only one Ballon d'Or winner, Kaká, with Robinho and Fabiano alongside. They were not as skilled as Ronaldo or Ronaldinho, but they were better than most. Even at their worst, Brazil was still a top 10 team in the world, as some football experts commented. What about producing stars? Is it Brazil's fault? Several reasons can explain this phenomenon. First, it is the change in football culture in Brazil. Football in Brazil is more than just a sport. Initially, football was a sport favored by white people. Over the years of struggle, people of color in Brazil have asserted their position in the sport of soccer. Therefore, it has become a symbol of national unity. It is believed that players of color, originating from the deepest corners and living in poverty, are the most skillful football players. Look at Brazil's economy over the past 30 years. From the early 1990s to 2011, Brazil's GDP per capita has skyrocketed. Starting from $2,700 in 1991, it jumped to $13,600 in 2011. In just 20 years of economic progress, Brazil's average income per capita has increased by 503%. Of course, GDP per capita does not fully reflect the entire economy, but it somewhat illustrates how quickly Brazilians became wealthier in a short period. At this point, both people of color and white people no longer see football as an opportunity to change their lives as before. Pursuing football is too risky, and they abandon their dreams for a stable and sustainable life. Furthermore, the football culture in Brazil has also changed somewhat. Now, people understand that football is a billion-dollar industry, so the perspective of Brazilian football professionals may be starting to change. Nowadays, boys playing football outside the streets are less likely to reach professional football, and instead, there is a trend towards standardized youth football training models. The positive aspect of this is that these models will create a more sustainable future. However, these academies often focus more on physical aspects than technique. creating a significant drawback in the development of Brazilian football. Thus, the magical street football is gradually giving way to a more calculated form of football. There is also another important factor in the development of football in Brazil, which is futsal. Brazilians are very accustomed to playing five-a-side football, a sport that requires excellent ball control in tight spaces. Many famous former footballers have a solid background in playing futsal. However, with the development of modern football, which is more of an end-to-end sport, meaning optimizing every part of the field rather than focusing on techniques or ball handling in certain plays. Modern football requires players to have more comprehensive skills, while Ronaldo and Ronaldinho are known for their extraordinary finesse and creativity. Modern players are often required to excel in various aspects, including tactical awareness, defensive contributions, and physical fitness. This change in requirements may impact the development of players with similar styles to Brazilian legends. The globalization of football has led to increasing competition among young talents worldwide. There are two impacts. The first impact is that previously, young talents from Brazil were guaranteed their nationality, but now they will have to compete with players from Africa or even Asia. The second impact is that European clubs have invested heavily in a widespread scouting network globally, directing young Brazilian talents towards the European style. The ease of international transfers also means that young talents are often drawn to foreign leagues from an early age, affecting the development and retention of potential stars in Brazil. Notable clubs following this model include Real Madrid, a team at the forefront of creating a formula for building top squads. Innate technical skills in South American players combined with exposure to the European football environment early on help these players integrate into the highest level of football, dispelling the risk that South American players may not adapt to the European style. Endrick's contract with Real Madrid is evidence of the club's long-standing policy of early talent discovery. This is a transfer strategy that in recent years has brought significant benefits in both sports and economics. Real signs contracts with young talents, sometimes with considerable amounts, such as €60 million for Endrick. However, as these young players progress, Los Blancos will reap profits many times over, not to mention names like Vinicius or Rodrigo, and for Barcelona, Vitor Roque. The next reason is probably the challenges in the structure of youth player development. Brazil has faced challenges in providing high-quality and consistent youth football development opportunities across the country. Disparities in infrastructure, training quality, and access to resources mean that not all young talents receive equal support. Addressing these structural challenges is crucial to nurturing the next generation of Brazilian football prodigies. Finally, there is a change in player mentality. The contemporary football landscape has seen a shift in player mentality, with many ambitious athletes focusing more on financial gains and early moves to lucrative European leagues. This change may affect the willingness of players to invest time and effort in honing their skills in domestic leagues. In Brazil, where competition can be fierce, the financial rewards may not be immediate or significant. Brazilian football is currently experiencing a shortage of exceptional talents. However, it will be just a phase. Once football becomes too mechanical, it will be the time when magicians return to the football world and Jogo Bonito will be revived. Once again, this is TD Sports. If you find this video interesting, please support us by liking the video and subscribing to the channel to stay updated on the latest and most exciting sports news. See you in the next videos.